We can't forget about. Sorry, guys. I'm supposed to be playing. Wait, I actually was trying to play this really cool track in the background as I came up. You know, get into this talk of abuse and childhood and mind control and everything and fucking the fuck of Scientology. With you, I'll show you in the night. This is the fuck how I felt, okay? This is the fuck how I felt. When all of my dreams come true, no one to stop or touch my life, love. So hold me in your arms at night, hoping that you find your love. So come on in. And all of you will love me, running in the same old fight. You'll find, but don't get closer. Don't get any closer. Don't come any closer. All right, guys, welcome in. I just wanted to share that while we get in the midst of what I'm about to talk about, because I was going through a lot of feels making this song, and it's just the vibe of that. So we'll end it lovingly on that. Okay, so welcome to LFM TV, where, gosh darn it, am I healing and healing and feeling and healing and feeling, and I really want to keep doing this. It's tough at times, and I just don't care. Like, so many things have been so fucking tough in my life, my whole life, and this is for me to heal myself, and if it's worth it to anybody, or if anything's worth anything to me, it's healing and growing and learning more about myself and letting go of old fucking anger and discomfort that physically is putting me into like physical uncomfortable situations and stuff. So we're going to breathe this through. I'm going to continue to learn to use my breathing techniques, and I also want to grab something. So before I finish that with you, please welcome on this Child Abuse and Healing with Jamie Mustard, and we are going to be talking about Child X and a child being in the Sea Org, ex-Scientologist, Scientology, baby, cadets, slaves, fucking everything. So here we go. I think the best person to do that with is no other than Jamie Mustard.
Hey, here we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Jamie.
Good.
Oh my God.
On the brink of the evening. Yeah. Just as the twilight settled. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So I've definitely been keeping not tabs on you, but listening. Like every time I'm, oh good, Jamie's going live with so and so. Nora. Today was Bianca. I love hearing. I can hear in what you've written and what you've talked about, and even chat's questions and how you answer them. I can literally hear that the healing that has gone from what you're explaining in your story and how you've lived your life and how you lived it in the past and how you are. I don't want to say how you are now, but I feel like what you've learned more about yourself, and it's turned you into the person you are now. And I love it. I feel that you're not somebody I'm afraid to talk to, which feels very nice to breathe that one through, in a like non-adult way where I felt it was uncomfortable in general to talk to people about the subject, but male figures in this way, because when it has happened, I've been stomped on or felt like I was the one creating problems and not talking about, or not healing it properly or nice. And and it shut me down again. It just shut me right back to everything that I experienced and visualized and seen as a child. Just like, and I, without even knowing it, I would literally catch myself holding back my feelings and upsets and crying and just being like, nope, nope, I'm doing in the, like, trying to literally cope with just making sure I'm not overstepping boundaries or somebody's emotions because I'm so upset about what's going on in my space. So in the middle of that, it just feels like, whether I like it or not, to feel and to heal what I'm feeling. There are times that it's tough. There's times that I've heard you talk about things in your child being in a baby, and it's connected dots for me that were super uncomfortable. Like the ATA and the CEO and policy letters and FOs and things like that I was reading. And excuse me, y'all, I know I'm working on the language. We're all working on the language thing with Scientology and the language of Scientology. I'm definitely going to be using Scientology language in this, in a funny way, in a sad way, and trying to reconstruct that as well and find words that explain the words that I was so programmed to only use, that some reason doesn't explain or emphasize what I'm trying to express.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will be using that. But yeah, like reading all these policies and things that L. Ron Hubbard wrote and demanded by executives to write that were then taking care. These were the nannies and the, Mary Kay Carr, for example. I just found, like, recently when I was on a live stream reading old like references and, executive directors, that she was one of these, the nannies. She was one of the main nannies who knew about all of these fucking
even that
things.
they called them nannies, Laura.
Is not that's thank you.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah. Well, let's start off by me at least saying this. I'm a fan of yours. And
thank you. Wait, let me grab your book. I totally forgot. It's by my bed. I'm literally reading it. So yeah. Okay.
There it is.
Sorry, I got my instruments in the back, guys. When I back it up, I make music. Okay.
All right.
Just kidding.
I
got your book, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I mean, I've always looked at you and watched you on stuff and felt that whether I agreed with you or disagreed with you, I've always felt that you were a very honest person and an authentic person. I'm trying to be very careful about what I do. I'm not looking to necessarily always be on the big shows. I'm doing a lot of mainstream media right now, so I'm already doing that. But I am interested in having the right kinds of conversations. So when you invited me, even though I'm exhausted, I said, yeah, that's a conversation I want to have. And I think it's kind of cool because I think I do a lot of things, but I primarily identify as a visual artist. And I have my first kind of major visual art coming out in the next commercially for the first time in the next few months. So I feel like this is kind of an artist to artist conversation. Because I feel, because I feel like
part of that connection where I feel safe talking to you, and that's part of the healing. I'm like, oh, there's another person who does something totally different than I do. Like, and whatever, it does not mean totally different. Just another fellow artist experiencing their lives. And I'm like, oh, wow, he does that. Like, so I learned you by listening to your stories and seeing how you talk and treat to other people. And I don't know, there was so much about that taught me, that showed me who you are, and showed me, and obviously related, similar stories or understanding of stories like the babies and stuff like that, the ATA and all that made me really upset. So I just felt like, wow, this guy keeps addressing, his childhood, and it's never like now, it's not you, and, it's always childhood and it's always the past. And so that really got me going, like, dang, I can talk about my childhood a lot. I haven't directed, and now I'm working on that, where I'm really talking about, the pictures and the visuals and the feelings, and like when I physically see somebody, an adult that was older than me, and what I feel immediately about them when I see a picture. It's just so.
I know, I get it. I mean, it's been a long road for me, and I often say that I don't know how healed I am. I'm way better than I was 5 or 10 years ago, but I see it as kind of an open wound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm just trying to ask myself what's true and what should we be putting our attention, what should I be putting my attention on? What's important? And what happened to us kids in the kind of Love Boat sci-fi daycare centers or orphanages or whatever you want to call them. You had a ranch, I had a slum, but I don't think you had it much better in certain ways.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, I was at the ATA and the CEO.
So we were at some of the same places at different times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just trying to reconcile with, like I was saying earlier today, as I've kind of been promoting this book and talking to the media, I've been talking about the lost children of Scientology. And one for one, they're saying to me, what are you talking about? And I'm saying, well, what happened to me happened to kids on 4 continents over 40 years, thousands of kids. And I thought the aftermath explained it, but everybody's kind of 40 on that show. And I don't think people understand that this was systematically done to us over half a century, thousands of us on 4 continents, and it's all been hidden until now. Your story, I mean, one of the most moving things I've seen maybe in my life in the history of this thing is your father calling and disconnecting from you live on film. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable, and it's unbelievably important because we tell that to people, but the way that's captured is exactly the way that it goes down for thousands of people. And it's never been captured on film before. So I've always been moved by you. And I just think it's one of the most remarkable pieces of footage ever captured in the history of this thing. And then, I'm also a huge fan of your song, "Oh Darling." I just love that melody.
Nice. Yeah. Nice. Ian and his brother. Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on his name right now. They wrote it like 10 years ago, maybe. Yeah. Now, what are we in? I don't even know. And I was writing different songs with them and going, like, we were just in the studio as artists do. And I was like, let me come in here on this. I was like, we were going down on tracks, and I just was like, I like this. And it wasn't that way. It wasn't the way it is. I fattened it up and fucking recorded. We literally recorded a whole 2 different drummers drumming, like in a whole studio recorded. Like it was a whole thing. I was like, oh wow, this is going to be an epic song. And like really the work that we put into it, it really did fatten it up. So I really love that because I put so much work into it. And so
I can tell.
And it was just a thing that I was able to like, actually partially because they wrote this with me. Like we were writing this and I changed a few sentences and words, but because they were allowing me to just do what I wanted with it, I was able, because I was afraid to directly write a song about Scientology or the Sea Org or my feelings or anything. Literally, I was always hiding behind a song. It was like, oh, I didn't write this, so I'm allowed to make it seem like this is from my past but it really is, because I don't know, for some reason I was so low on myself, so not low, but so scared to feel me, that, and even singing and art and music, that I felt it was okay because it was made, like, they did
I get it. I mean, I get it. I never, I have this graphic novel coming up that's kind of almost the same story as Child X, and because I was never going to write Child X, I never thought I'd be able to write what actually happened. And so I was always looking not to kind of heal through art, but to express the story through art in a way where maybe people wouldn't know that I was expressing my story, but I was taking from something that was real and trying to give an experience to other people. So I'm kind of shocked that I'm sitting here actually having written my really, well, yeah, just a crazy story.
Yeah. I am too. I was like, wow. I was thinking like, I mean, it feels like it's pretty easy for me to read, which is also another thing, which I just hate complicated books, like especially after having to be forced to read so many L. Ron Hubbard bullshit books our whole life. I'm like, another book of anything. Yeah. So this is actually enjoyable. It's enjoyable for me to read Jeff's book or anybody's book where this is the shit. This is the situation. It fills up those answers. It fills up those holes. The policy letters I'm reading, and then how you were treated out and looking at the dates. I'm like, 1970, 1980. I'm like, this was happening before I was born.
No, I mean, it's as crazy is that when if you go to England, to Stonelands, or you go to Johannesburg, or you go to Copenhagen, whether it's 10 years apart, 20 years apart, it's the same thing over and over and over. Yeah, it's wild.
And it hasn't changed. It's just been covered up more and more and more.
Yeah.
Like normalized, not even covered up, but normalized, because they can't even say, oh, we're covering this up from the law. Otherwise, then we would know, oh, it's illegal.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was, I didn't even understand that there was protection in the outside world, right? The outside world is the WOG world. So it's like scary and full of psychiatry, and they're going to drug me and I'm not going to even be able to think properly. Like, it's just had all these scary ideas. Plus, listening to your stories about hearing ambulances and everything. I'm like, that's all I heard as a baby, right before I turned 4 years old, before 4 years old, and being born at the Mama Shelter Hotel, or Wilcox Hotel on Wilcox and Selma.
I know it well. I met much time there in my youth.
Yes.
All I was saying, there's been so many great books written, and when I got the opportunity to potentially write a book, I actually didn't really want to do it because I thought, everything's been said, maybe. And then what I realized as I was kind of talking to my publisher, and I didn't really think he would let me do it. I said, maybe a book that explains what it feels like rather than all the events. The events are important, but how about really showing people what it feels like to be born into this thing, into this sci-fi, paramilitary, naval, Captain Steubing environment in the slums of downtown LA. And I'll talk to somebody that's 20 years apart from me and that grew up in Copenhagen, and the experience of how we felt not having parents, it's almost identical. And so,
like, you were talking about when you saw your mom, or when you went back after you were meeting, your family, your royal family. I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
And her remark was, you want to go to the wall? What did she say? I don't remember what she said, but I was like, ugh. That feeling of just like let down, and like, wait, I thought I was just shiny and happy feeling over here, and now I'm back to that slump.
Yeah. I mean, I felt guilty. I was semi-literate. I couldn't write at 20 years old, and just going to school to repair that because of all the conditioning about the outer world and the planet needing saving. I was feeling guilty the whole time I was fixing myself, like I was committing a crime to improve myself. Yeah.
Same with me. When we would, even just the few times that we went on leave of absence, we were allowed to go for 4 days to Canada to visit our grandma. And most of the time it was for like our grandpa passing away. So we were allowed, otherwise it would be out PR.
I hear you.
I remember sitting in a booth with my grandmother, like 8 or 9 years old, and I have a picture of it too, and I was just like imagining living with her. I was like, okay, I know how her phone looks. I could call my mom. I could call mom and dad, at Gold Base if I was with grandma. I was just imagining what that would be, and I was like, I was holding her arm like in the booth at the Denny's, and that's like right by the freeway here.
I hear you.
And just being like, oh, this would be so, she'll not, like, I wouldn't be a burden. This would be fine. And knowing it's never going to happen. My mom and dad are never like,
every couple of years,
out PR.
Every couple of years when we would go visit my grandmother, the minute I would get there, I couldn't really enjoy myself because all I was thinking about was I was going to be going back.
Yeah.
And so,
same.
So wait, so here we are. What are we talking about today, Laura?
Okay. So I wanted to break down, I mean, obviously, a lot of people also who will watch this on replay and all this were on a nice late LA night.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of struggle internally for myself and for other ex-Scientologists, ex-kids that were in the cult of Scientology and then Sea Org that aren't even on YouTube and doing this, that I talk to all the time. There's this like the burdens on the kids, the burden, it's whether it's meant to from them or not, it just feels so much like, okay, if we're healing and we're going through this and we're being open and vulnerable, it feels very hard.
Well, yeah, I mean, let me take that up and let me say something about that. I mean, and I actually feel that I have a bigger issue at this point in terms of wanting to heal and wanting the other kids that went through this to heal with the ex-members who are my friends that are the older generation that built this in the 60s and 70s. And again, I hate to use these words, because they get overly used and not unfairly used, but this generation of ex-members refuse to understand or have any empathy for what was done to us. Even when they act like or talk like they have empathy, there's not really any emotion behind it. Yeah, we understand what happened to you, and so I'm actually more I'm not out to get anybody. I'm not even out to get, the mothership. I'm just out to tell my story so I can understand what happened to me and maybe help some of the other kids that went through it understand what happened to them. And maybe beyond that, even help people that didn't have our experience, but had something similar happen with a parent or another group, help them understand and themselves. So because I'm not on a mission to destroy anybody or bring them down. I'm more just want to tell my story and live as a whole person, because I've been lying to myself and almost living a double life for most of my life by not telling anybody what happened to me, because I carried so much embarrassment, humiliation, and shame about it. So unknown.
I also sometimes it feels weird to talk about abuse at the Ant Ranch because there are patches missing. I'm literally like, I don't remember.
So let's talk about that. So I will say right now, I'm more concerned with the ex-members, the ex-adult, baby boomer members that are ahead of us, and their treatment of us is a far bigger problem for me than the mothership or Slimetology or whatever you want to call it. I hate to even call it what he calls it, because I don't even think it's a thing. But I mean, to me, these guys, it's a bigger issue. And I don't want to make them feel bad. I'm not trying to call them out. I'm just saying it's the only group of people, these ex-members of, I'll call it so-called Scientology, that are against Scientology. It is the only group of people on the planet that as a collective have zero to no empathy towards children. And if they're listening to this right now, they're going, that's ridiculous. And I would challenge any of them to come on and talk to me or talk to you and explain to me how they do have empathy for children. And I would ask anyone on the outside listening to the conversation if they actually see or believe there's any empathy there when they're communicating it. They don't see that they don't have it. That's a baby boomer problem. But there's no other group of people that have left a group that they vehemently hate so much that has no empathy for children, very, very little to no empathy for children. What stopped what's happening in Gaza is too many children died, to the point where ex-Israeli prime ministers and G7 countries, said, okay, you can't, this is too many kids. The only place where it doesn't matter how many kids get destroyed, even for the ex-members that claim to be on our side, for them to care, is ex-Scientologists. Ex-adult baby boomer Scientologists do not care about children. And if they do, and I'm saying generally, I'm so sure there are a couple or some that do, but I would urge them, let's have a conversation. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to say, unless you're able to understand what happened, you're gaslighting us, even if you don't know you're gaslighting us. And let's have a conversation. Explain to me how you do have empathy. Let's have people listening to that conversation, and they can tell us if they hear it or not. But, you know, that kind of
Right.
segue, I think that's a good way to segue into Casavius. So if I'd like to open a conversation about Casavius, I'd like to tell
My
you,
heart just went whoosh.
I know, but I want to tell you about my experience with
Okay.
Casavius, because I want to say a couple of things. I met Casavius at the Melrose Building, where I went through my crucible of torture, the worst experience that I ever went in, that's outlined in Child X. And he was just this sweet mixed Filipino boy that was 4 years old. I was a little older than him, maybe, or 3 or 4. I mean, I've probably known him since he was 3 years old. And I will tell you, before I explain to you what I know of the situation that occurred with you, which is horrific. Okay. I will tell you that, and I'm not making any excuses, but the type of abuse that Casavius experienced at the Melrose and then at the Fountain Building is the most, I'm not going to say it out loud, but it's the most horrific form of abuse that one could ever imagine happening to a child. So we all know what I'm talking about. And it didn't just happen once. Okay. So this guy, you know, he went through it. Okay. And then let's just flash forward to all the time later when he had the experience with you. Right. I just know, I can tell you that when that happened with you, right. The spanking where, you know, and whatever that meant for you. And I know this is probably the most difficult thing for you to hear, but I want you to know that he was told that if he didn't do that, he was going to the re-education camp. He was given a choice. Do that to Laura. Is it Lara?
Megan.
Laura?
Yeah, but at the time it was Megan. Do that.
But how do you say Laura now?
Laura.
Okay,
Yeah.
Laura. So do that to Laura, or you're going to a hard labor camp.
You just said Laura.
I did. I thought I said Laura.
I'm kidding. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. No, you did say Laura. You said Laura. Okay, Laura.
Okay, Laura. Okay, so he was told you're going to go to hard labor for 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And eat slop and run everywhere. I mean, that rehabilitation camp, re-education concentration camp, it's equivalent to a concentration camp. People lose weight, they run everywhere, they do hard labor, they do this. It's the only thing that's truly mind control, the truth rundown, where you have to do this form of interrogation until you admit that everything you thought you saw and all your viewpoints are just your own evil, and you can't graduate from it until you admit that it was all your own evil and all your points of view were wrong. So he was given a choice: do that to Lara, or you're going to go to hard labor for 5 to 10 years. I don't know if you know that he was given a binary choice.
I found that out not too long ago.
Okay, so
and that's also why when you just dropped his name, I was like, because I'm definitely processing and learning, literally learning and learning a lot. And it's filling in, and it brings up things like, I remember more things the more it's so amazing how much I have shut all of this out. Yeah.
So all I'm trying to say to you is, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Sophie's Choice, but he was given, or Deer Hunter. You need to watch Deer Hunter. Okay.
Hold on. Let me write this down. I really like movie. Hold on.
Okay. Watch Deer Hunter. Don't watch Sophie's Choice. It's too dark. Watch Deer Hunter.
I like dark shit. Okay. Hold on.
So I've done a lot of work with the military, Lara, and in the military, they have this concept of a moral injury, where no matter what your choice was, you made the wrong choice. Like one of the first people that ever got the shots was this guy who had shot a 10-year-old boy in the chest who had a bomb strapped to him in Iraq. Okay. And so he had been haunted. He couldn't win. He had to do it, but he couldn't do it because it was a 10-year-old boy, but he did it. Right. So I just want you to know that wherever Casavius is out there, he's walking around with a moral injury beyond belief. Can you imagine if I went up to you right now, we're out, and I said, all right, Laura, you're going to go and harm and psychologically destroy that 8-year-old child right there, or you're going to a hard labor camp for 10 years.
Right.
Go.
Right.
What would that do to you? Right. So I'm not making excuses for him, but that's after all of the abuse that he went through, and he went through that worst kind of abuse, and it wasn't just one time. Okay. Yeah. And then on top of that, when his father left, who's one of the most famous, suppressives in history, he's got a Wikipedia page. He's so famous as one of the people. He was close to Hubbard. Casavius' father went from the Vietnam War to being Hubbard's bodyguard and valet.
Oh, wow.
And so he was a close friend of Hubbard's. And they were so afraid that he would never give up looking for his son when he left, that they forced Casavius to go through an adult adoption, where he was forced to, for 23 years, to change his name, his proud Filipino name of Casavius Tavioyan, to Michael Probilski.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm not, again,
when all that happened.
Okay. So I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I'm saying that you need to watch Deer Hunter, where they put these guys in this position, what it was like, in these POW camps in Vietnam, where it was kind of like, kill your brother or kill yourself, up to you. And that was the choice he was given. And I understand the way that you feel, but I guarantee you, knowing that kid since he was 3, 4 years old, that whatever you're walking around with in relation to that incident, whatever he's walking around with in relation to that incident or incidents, is just as big or great. Right? So it's massive. And so, I don't want to tell you how to feel, and I don't want to make excuses, but I think that it would be healthy for you to ask yourself that question. If you were told that you had to just, harm a child severely psychologically, or go to a concentration camp where you'd have to run for the next 5 to 10 years, seriously, literally run everywhere for 5 to 10 years, live in a rat infested tunnel, or exposed to the roof under Big Blue, eat slop, not be not be able to speak unless spoken to, even by a small child. And then the only thing that I consider truly to be brainwashing, or that's true brainwashing in Hubbard's ideology and constructs, is the truth rundown, or harm that child. There was no way out for him. There was no way out. And it sucks, because that is the kind of position that they put us in, right? That's the kind of position your father was put in. Disconnect from your child, or not be one of us, or be a Judas. We're all, the nature of being involved in this group is to be put in these impossible positions with, no matter what choice you make a choice that hurts somebody.
Mm-hmm. I hear all of that, and it's here. I do hear it. There's one thing, and I'm just being open and honest.
Yeah.
Open and fucking honest out there, or not even honest. This is all honest. I'm being transparent and in my feelings. I have this stuck, and I'll someday maybe. I don't see myself not healing this with Casavius. So I'm like, I almost started, I was like, wait, is it Mr. Tab or Casavius? Yeah. Like, but I had there was this moment when we were working, my throat is literally closing up.
I'm sorry.
We were working on the meditation path, and we were pulling out all the little tiny fucking weeds in between all the fucking little rocks. And it was really hot. And I had fallen and hit my head 2 weeks prior, maybe a month prior, in the maintenance shed, and I had a concussion and everything. And Casavius was running all the kids on all the projects and grounds work. But he ran everybody, all the cadets, on their groundworks, but also was responsible for running the governance group on their projects. So after that happened. And I don't know, Casavius, I'm sure you're watching this or will watch this. He said this thing to me. And I want some clarity on it. Like, I don't want to have this upset of pain. But he said, like, yeah, you know, get back to work. You, out of all people, have no time to be slacking off. And then somebody said, why? What did she do? Or something like, why her? You know, out of all people. And I was even confused. I was like, why me? What the hell? And he said, you used up all the money. You used up all the medical money to get a CAT scan. And I just felt so like fucked up from that. Like, oh my God, now I'm the reason so-and-so can't go to the hospital. Susie can't go get her stitches redone. Like,
I know, I hear you. And all
when you say that, I go, but what made him say that? What made him?
Okay, like I'm going to go back to it. You know, Laura, he was born in it like us from birth. He was groomed from birth. And
I get it.
And then it
just doesn't, I don't know why it just doesn't.
I know, but like, and he was,
for me.
I know, and he was.
I think because I had a close connection with
him,
even as a child.
And all I can tell you is that he was violently SA'd when we were and I don't want to get too much more into it because I don't really know that I have the.
No, I don't.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you look at what was done to this guy and the choices he was given and the fact that he was groomed into it from birth, my feeling is that it could have been and should have been so much worse. And one of the things we're talking about here for people that don't know is this kid that I was a little kid with. It was my friend at 5 years old or 6 years old, in one of the orphanages, especially the one on Melrose where I met him. He was put in a position where he had to either hit Lara or go to a concentration camp of hard labor and re-education for 5 to 10 years. This was the choice he was given. And so
chat knows it's called the RPF.
Okay. I know. I just,
No. I know you're not, but I think they're thinking, oh, okay. Is it the RPF?
So, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. So
I like the RPF was at the Int Ranch too.
Okay. Yeah.
So we literally could see people and like the ex-executives would be running around, like, digging trenches. Yeah. So it was very obvious.
Yeah. So, I just think that if I was put in a position where I just think that's
the first time I've ever said it, and literally saying it already helps me.
Yeah,
I understand. No. I understand. Like, I know you don't think I understand. I do understand.
I think you do. I just want you to understand that when you look at the level of abuse that this guy was subject to, he still remained a pretty good person. He should have been a serial killer or a sociopath.
Right.
And he held on to his soul.
Yeah.
He wasn't perfect. He did bad things. I'm sure if you ever talk to him, he knows he did bad things. But this guy held on to himself. And I would probably imagine if I was able to talk to him, that he would tell me that the thing that he feels worst about that he ever did in all of his experiences, probably even worse than what happened to him as a kid, his SA, is what happened between him and you. I think that he's probably tortured by it. But look at what would he have done and made a better choice had he gone and destroyed himself? It just, there was no win. It was no way out. And it's almost like it's like Dostoevsky. It's existential. It's an existential trick. It's an existential maze. And there was no way out of that maze. And I'm not saying that again to make excuses, but I'm saying it so that you can understand the context, so that maybe you can have a little forgiveness and grace for him, because I guarantee you in listening, you know, that he's tortured by it.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a good point. That's such a good point because there's definitely people, other adults at the ranch that I don't have tears for. I have anger.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there is that connection of care, and there was that connection of him trying what he could at his best at the time.
I just think that if you guys could ever get together and talk, or find a way to talk on a Zoom where you could see each other's expression or faces, that there could be a reconciliation there. You know, because
okay, now let's switch. Okay, so now let's not make this your friend. Okay, somebody you know. Isn't he, to me, the older adults you're talking about that need to step up and say, "Hey, I did this. I followed this policy. I did this." Right?
I think 100%. If you find a way to talk to him.
And sorry, Casavius, for using you as anything.
No,
there are definitely other adults that I'm addressing.
I think I can guarantee you, knowing that guy since I was 5 years old, 6 years old, that if you could talk to that guy, he would be running to jump up and take responsibility. You guys just need to have the conversation.
Okay, what about the other adults?
I don't think the other adults would do it. I'm talking about this kid that I've known since I was 5 years old, right, that I know what happened to him. And so him, I know his heart. I knew his heart when he was 4, and I know what that kid is made of. I know him so well. You know, I went through war. You and I are brothers and sisters in war, and he and I are brothers in war. And there's some people I could say, no, they would totally do the wrong thing. And there's some people who say, I don't know what they would say or do. That guy, if you could have a private conversation with him, he would be running to tell you that he was wrong. And that that guy, I know, is one of the most, and I hate to say this because I know how you feel and what he did to you. And that guy is one of the most empathetic human beings I've ever known. So I know that whatever went on between you, and as much torture as it's caused you, it's caused him egregious moral injury and torture. I know it because I know what kind of person he is.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Okay, that was Theta.
I appreciate that.
Okay, that was Theta.
Theta potato.
Okay.
I have a Theta potato crocheted somewhere in my bin here.
No.
Okay, so yeah, that's another thing. Like,
and I hope it's okay. And I hope I didn't overstep in trying.
You didn't. I wouldn't have brought you up here. I wouldn't have, and I didn't know you were gonna go do that. I just, it's something that I need to, like. This is what I struggle with. This is why I need people to say, "Hey, so and so. Hey, Kenny Campbellman. Hey, Mike Brown. Hey," and then I go, "Fuck Mike Brown," and then boom, I sort it out, and I go, "Wow." Valid of me saying fuck Mike Brown, but realizing Mike Brown also went through this, and it's hard to see perspectives of the other side when there's so much hate and so much, I hate using this word, upset. When there is so much grief and pain.
My view of that kid, knowing the chronicle of torture that kid went through, I know too much about his torture. I know that torture lasted not just 20 years, 40 years. Okay. And the fact that he is who he is with all that he went through is a miracle. Yeah. And there's no way that you guys, anyway, we can move on, but
I'm trying to move on from trying to move on from Casavius.
Okay,
Casavius, he's not letting me spank him.
Okay.
Just kidding.
That's funny.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Fuck.
Okay.
I
Moving
just
on.
made a joke. But so what I'm saying is the other adults, like, how do we, not even the other adults, other people, even other ex-Scientologists, our quote friends, right, that aren't talking about their stuff. Do we need everybody to be talking about it?
I think that we just need radical truth telling.
Right. That's what I
Yeah,
And I feel like I'm doing radical self-healing. Like I really am. I did the fucking group therapy thing, which the last group therapy I did was 8 years ago. And it was like, I'm never doing this again. This is the worst thing ever. And then, so I went and I'm just doing so much things that are helping. And one of the things where if somebody mentions a name or says something that triggers me, good, let it trigger so I can like breathe it out and like fucking approach it, you know, be with it and like say, okay, I don't want to talk about that. That's really making me uncomfortable. But at least I got there. At least I got to the emotion of feeling where I'm not okay anymore.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think that the thing not to do is to go at these people and just tell them they're a bunch of bad daddies and whatever. The thing to do is to plead for them to try to understand what it would be like to be born and turned over to people, or even the ones that weren't turned over to people. You know, if you're still, even if you're going in a rich family, you're still being told to not be emotional and to not dramatize and to that you're a 1,000,000,000,000-year-old fallen god. So how important is your relationship with your parent this lifetime? There's a lot of things. People aren't people in Slimetology. They're terminals. Everything is mechanized, so that there's human distance, and a child needs connection. And so even the ones that don't grow up in the inner paramilitary group, the clergy, the so-called C organization, are still receiving this mental vice, this mental yoke, and
almost like a mental behavior of how
I
behave.
So to me, I think it's the most profound thing that's occurred in the history of this movement, and we need to start talking about it. And I don't mean talking about it like a bumper sticker
in a judgmental way. No,
like like we have this thing where you say a hashtag NKIMS or no more kids in Scientology. Like I don't want to. That does not address. Let's talk about what was done to the child mind. And when we just kind of have it as a bumper sticker, we're not talking specifically about what was done to the child mind. And I don't think that conversation, the most atrocious, the greatest atrocity that this group has ever committed, is the systematic destruction of the child mind over the last 75, let's say 50 years, probably, And I wouldn't want to apologize for Neil Gaiman, but Neil Gaiman's father was a close confidant of Hubbard. He was the national spokesperson. And then he was the head of the Guardian's office worldwide, which later became the head of OSA International, and he grew up, part of his childhood as under this, paramilitary indoctrination, and so any abuser is a victim. It doesn't mean that we excuse the abuser.
So then a victim of what? L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology rhetoric?
I guarantee you that if we could have a private conversation with Neil Gaiman, and they started this thing in 1967, the C Project. His father was the head of the equivalent of OSA International at the time, the head of the secret police worldwide, as well as the international spokesperson worldwide. And I guarantee you that whatever Neil experienced, now he's been canceled for abusing people, and I'm not saying it excuses it, but there's a context of abuse here. The abused become abusers. That's part of this conversation.
Right.
Yeah. And so I think that we need to, even if I look at my own mother, right? She turned me over to wolves at birth. But if I look back at her life, which I do in my book, she went through deep and dark trauma. That doesn't excuse what she did, but what it does allow for is for me to not take it personally. And there's that old kind of cliche, and this is, if I could teach you, if I could like get you to take on a point of view that I think would be the most valuable point of view for you as a human being, just as a friend. There's that old kind of adage or that old cliche that hate or that anger you describe, which is like borderline hate, which I felt for a lot of time in my life. I identify with you. So I'm not saying this like, hey, Laura, let me give you some advice. I'm saying this just human to human. It's that old adage of hate is like drinking poison and thinking the other person's going to get sick. Just something.
And I wonder why if we're drinking the poison, maybe we're trying to show the other person how much.
Yeah.
Look at, you're killing me.
Yeah. That being said, do I think there were probably people that did things to you that were truly evil? Yes, I do. And do I think that they deserve the same grace and compassion that Casabias does? No, I don't.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know. I know there are moments of evilness. I've seen it, and that was in good people and bad people. Like people, I'm like, I don't know why the fuck he was. I don't know. And then it's like weird because then I hear, oh well, you know, so and so was such a sweet kid, not just Casabias, but other people that were children. I'm like, that's hard.
Yeah. So, all right. So here we are. We're kind of having a conversation. I don't know if it's an interview. Do you have any questions for me? Is there anything?
No.
Okay.
No. I have random little. We're just a chat, and I told you basically that I love listening. Yeah, the connecting the dots is for everybody. It feels like all of us are being able through your story, through everybody telling their story, and I wish more people would tell it, but I guess not everybody is going to be on YouTube or going to be doing this.
I also think it's not easy to tell your story with so much shame and humiliation. And I also think the words make it really difficult for us to tell our story using the words because, you know, the words hide what things actually are. You say that you were at the ATA or the CEO, and it's kind of like those sound like official institutions. Let's face it, they were slum office buildings where we were constantly hurting ourselves and went unsupervised and were separated from our parents where our minds slowly dissolved into mush because we had no love.
Yeah.
So calling that the ATA or the CEO, it hides what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Even the language in that form. Not that we can't use what I'm saying is the ATA, but really they called it the Apollo training. What is it? Apollo Training Academy.
Yeah, which sounds like
like an academy.
Yeah, there was no academy there.
No fucking way. Yeah. I literally just went by the other day to film because I found a picture of the inside of this shithole.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to call it now.
So will you text it to me?
Yeah, and it's literally like kids all around, and I'm like, I could hear as I'm looking at the picture. This is what I was talking about earlier. I could hear the ambulances in my thoughts while I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah.
Of what I was hearing when I was 3.5, 2 years old in that parking lot that they called the ATA. Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do with Child X is to say, let's get away from all the words. Let's get away from all the jargon. And what did this actually feel like to have no parents? What did this feel like to be told we were evil? What did this feel like to be judged constantly? Down tone, lower conditions, down stat, like all this judgment. It's a judgment
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said before you even knew it, like when you were saying like H-E-N-R, like we were like, yeah, knock off the H-E-N-R. Okay. We didn't even know what that meant only by feeling. We only knew, oh, okay, well, I feel like I need to shut up and fucking don't say anything back to this executive.
Yeah. If you want to know what it felt like psychically, it would be like shrouding a child, cutting off all their eyes, their ability to see, cutting off their sound with a shroud, and then this is my psychological example, and then beating them with a baseball bat. That's what the experience was for me. I feel like I've survived a form of child torture.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so I'm so grateful to you and sad for you at the same time when I watched that disconnection of your father disconnecting from you, cutting on YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful to you because it's probably the only filmed thing that's happened tens of thousands of times. It happens every day,
every fucking day
in Slimetology. But then my heart breaks for you as a daughter. But I feel so lucky that the world can see it, because unless you can see something like that,
it's so fucking hard to explain.
It's impossible to even believe. How could you even believe it? So I have such mixed emotions when I'm watching you do that. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. It's being recorded. But then
that's exactly how I felt too. I was like, oh, at least the world understands. And also just how I felt during the phone call and then seeing it after. It's like totally different. Like, dang, like the language, my dad's like, see, knock that off, like the way he's talking. And I'm like, oh, don't get pulled in. Don't let him pull you into that thinking. It's so difficult. And it was so difficult, but yeah. Okay, so I do have a few questions on your book things. Is Paco, was he, and it might not be at all a thing. There was this did he tap dance, or is this?
No, he was just that guy. He was this Italian, Sicilian guy that my mom married. He was my stepfather, and he was kind of an artist. Okay. And I didn't have a father, and he came, my mother married him when I was 3 after I'd spent 2.5 years lying face up at a crib in a slum near downtown LA, near MacArthur Park. And he loved me. And I feel like if that guy had not given me that love at that time, like showered me with physical love, like their Sicilians are so touchy feely, I'd be dead.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
And at that time, like, he wasn't in the Navy, but my mother was. And at that time, you could be in the inner Navy clergy and be married to somebody that wasn't. They eventually outlawed that, but he was out of it. And he just was kind and loving.
And he was never a part of Scientology or anything?
No, he was in it.
Slimetology.
Yeah, he was in it.
In the Sea Org ever, or no?
No.
Okay, just like a public or whatever they...
Yeah, you're back in those days, somebody that was a fake Navy member could be married married to a regular person.
Yeah, I was literally thinking he was really in the Navy.
No.
Okay.
I actually think that before he got into Slimetology, I actually think he was in the Navy. That's funny. Okay. But when I'm talking this now, no, he was a loving guy. He had empathy. He saw us suffering, and he tried to relieve our suffering. But also, he just loved me.
Did Paco blow?
No, I mean, for all I know, he's still involved in it. That's what makes it so complicated.
There was this sort of not Sea Org member, sort of not fully public, because he was more allowed to be at Gold Base and stuff like that. And his name was Paco. And
no, he wasn't an intern or anything like that. He was just in LA.
Paco wasn't at Gold Base. He was, or I don't think he was. He was just allowed to go there a few times for like entertainment, like for
I don't know,
tap dancing.
No. I don't think he went to Gold Base.
He was an older guy though, and he was like, we called him Paco, and it was
this is a separate person. This is a different person.
Okay, good.
It's not the same guy. It's not the same guy.
I was like, this can't be the same Paco.
No, I promise you it's not the same guy. I promise.
But he was like an older 60-year-old guy. So I was like, oh, maybe it's the Paco from Jamie's days. And then he got to the ranch way later.
No, different guy.
Okay, good. Finally, that has been answered through my mind.
Yeah.
And then, I guess the rest is just things that I'm when I'm listening or read. I got your audiobook. I told everybody I just spent $25 on Amazon to get the freaking audio, and I love it. Not only do I have the book, but I can literally hear Jamie talk and read it to me. So I don't care. I spent the money and I did it. Guys, we only live once that we know in this body, so we might as well use it up and go get that Child X book if you can. And if you rather hear it on audio, he also has it on audio. Now I feel like I'm advertising for you. Are you messaging again? I can tell.
Yeah, I'm horrible. Well, just because somebody texted me that started to read the book that I didn't know they bought it, and they're not
Uh-huh.
somebody that was ever involved, and I didn't warn them. And somebody that grew up in it today, who's been kind of mesmerized by it, sent me a message saying, maybe this book should come with like a warning label. so I just wanted, like, I know
hashtag trigger warning.
Yeah. So I just was like telling this guy, like, be careful, like, just know that it's dark. You know, I just didn't want him to hurt himself because he's a civilian that knows nothing about this, and I just didn't want him to hurt himself because I care about him.
This is good notes for me for my future book. I'll be like, okay. Yeah. Take note.
Yeah.
Try to write the book without using L. Ron Hubbard's poison.
Yeah.
Literally.
I just think
his words and language is the
I
poison.
think we continue to trigger and program ourselves
using it
when we use those words, and
but not as a joke and not as like a funny.
No,
you can.
We need the jokes. We need
like get your ethics in, man. You're being a little bit surf-acking.
Yeah. Stop being a victim, fucking Laura. Like
knock off the bank. Yeah, knock off the bank.
I start talking about my childhood friend, and you just turn into a total fucking victim.
Right? I'm antagonistic, Jamie. Why don't you bring me up tone?
One thing that people don't know is that we get programmed from birth with this word victim. Like, being a victim, and people are not going to believe this, is worse than being a pedo in terms of the viewpoint of a Sea Org member or a Sea organization, as an inner clergy. It'd be better to be a pedo than to be a victim in the way it's. I know it's hard to believe, but in terms of the way we grew up,
sorry, I shouldn't have put that up until you finished your thought.
No, it's okay. Alonzo. I mean,
wait. I also was saying that pedos, like literally Scientology auditing, what they call auditing, which is the hypnotic techniques
I call it machine counseling.
I know, but it's not always done on the machine.
I know, but most of the time it is.
I mean, like the TRs and all that to me is a huge no.
I call that non-reactionary drills. It's a systematic empathy.
The TRs.
Okay, yeah, I call it non-reactionary.
I need excuse me, can we get
I got to write my own tech dictionary.
Yeah, you need to I was trying to find tech dictionary.
Yeah.
Webster's Young Readers for Child X.
Listen,
Jamie
when
Mustard
I did that,
readers.
I was not trying to create a new lingo. When I did that in the book, I was trying to.
No. I love that. It really, like you just said, ATA. It's, to me, this was what the ATA is, but I'm not explaining that.
Anybody outside would think that it's
doesn't fucking know it.
It's an academy.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Right.
What I'm trying to do, like, I had some friends that had never been in, a friend of mine that's never been in, and really smart lady, and she and her husband tried to watch Going Clear twice, which I love Going Clear, but I also know everything, right? And they said that both times they got really confused by the jargon.
Right.
So what I try to do with the book, I'm not trying to create a new language. All I try to do is
but see, right, part of it.
What would we call this if you were saying it to somebody that never heard of it and you really wanted them to understand it? What could we call it so that it would be plain to like a 4-year-old that knows nothing about it? So so that's what I tried to do, because I really feel like one of the reasons nothing's been done about what happens to the kids and people don't understand to have empathy for what we went through now that we're adults is because it's never explained in plain language. So that's what I try to do. I'm not trying to get you to take on my language. I'm just trying to say, try to use words that every time we use words to try to describe the places of what happened to us or the doctrines of what happened to us, we're continuing to reinforce that and trigger ourselves with his, if you read Steve Hassan's book, this high control, this kind of invented language is part of thought control. So not only do we continue to brainwash ourselves, mind control ourselves or whatever, indoctrinate ourselves, but we also make it completely incomprehensible to the people that we're trying to explain it to. So if we just remove the language and we're forced to use words to describe things like, what would you call the objectives, Lara, if you couldn't call it the objectives? What would you call it?
This is so messed up, but training routines.
I would call it
TRs.
I would call it teaching someone to become inured and used to being controlled. Control training, like grooming someone to be controlled. That's what all the objectives are.
I use grooming a lot. I'm
Yeah,
just so
like
sick of
basically
that word because it feels more than just like, oh, I know this is silly and it doesn't mean
you
this,
just
but I just think of somebody grooming somebody's hair. I'm like,
yeah,
no,
but
it
no,
wasn't pleasant.
no, but if you had to describe the objectives, it's us doing for hours and hours, dozens, if not hundreds of hours, having someone walk us around and tell us what to do and move our bodies, and we let them control us. We're being told that's going to make us a better spiritual being, but really all it's doing is making us more malleable and controllable. And when you
I
call it the
know
objectives, it sounds like something serious and good. Oh, objective, that's a good word. But really it's just teaching and indoctrinating someone into being willing to be controlled. We have to call these things what they are.
Right. But I do have a trouble with breaking down the Scientology word objectives. Breaking those down, like trying to talk about walk to that wall now, and then if you don't do it, then we had to be forced. Like you really have to break it down. It's not just controlling like you
I
know.
I'm trying to give it a loose thing where basically a person tells you what to touch, tells you what to look at, tells you what to walk, tells you where to move your body, and you just do this for dozens of hours. It sounds fucking weird, and they're telling you that it's going to make you a better person. That if you learn how to be controlled, you'll be able to control other people better. It's not true.
And if you don't respond when they tell you, tell is also not the correct word. Demand if you don't. You are like, body routed. You are forced to do. I used
all I would say, Laura, is if you don't understand why it's so important not to call it the objectives and describe what it is, that you just need to get your fucking TRs in.
Okay. Okay. That is the solution.
Okay, yeah, get your fucking TRs in. Get into fucking present time. Okay.
And fucking find my misunderstood words.
Yeah. Like
get a noggin.
Yeah. Okay. And you look up your fucking MUs.
Yep.
And get with it. Right.
Then I can quit committing present time.
The minute you and I start talking like that, no one knows what the fuck we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I'm working daily on being clear to myself the words I'm using. Like, even protesters that are out there, when they're saying it's okay to leave the Sea Org, that is intentionally for internal Sea Org members.
I'll tell you who's really good at it. I'll tell you who's really good at it is Jenna. I see her in interviews all the time, changing the words now. And then I was watching an old Piers Morgan interview with her today. That's like, I don't know, 8 years old, 10 years old. And she was doing it back then. She was changing the words. Jenna's really good at it.
Yeah, I've seen her definitely explain. Yeah. She has her own way of like explaining.
Yeah, but she's really good at kind of not.
It's kind of fun. And I wonder if it's because Jenna likes to read books and stuff. I wonder if the more I'm reading, even your book has brought me more joy to reading, and it literally helps my brain become more not my brain, but my mind more intelligent, and I can use other words when I'm realizing I'm not so stuck in only these words of Scientology. Who's distracting you now?
No. And I'm just generally being distracted.
Okay.
All right.
And that's allowed. I'm going to allow this, Jamie.
Okay.
I'm going to allow your feelings.
You're going to grant me beingness?
I'm going to grant you theta energy.
Grant you beingness is one of the things I hate the most. You want to know why I hate that so much?
Well, I hate theta.
No, I hate grant beingness, and I'll tell you, this is a Scientology concept of
grant you beingness.
Yeah, because I don't grant
I lend it to you.
I don't. Yeah, you be. I don't need to do shit. You get to be no matter what I do. Grant you beingness. Go fuck.
Like
yourself.
You're right. Like you're the god or the king to give.
Yeah.
Let me grant you this.
Granting beingness from the mountaintop. Yeah.
Beingness, and no, you're not like granting me gold or money. You're granting me beingness.
The ability to be. Which no one grants you. You just be. Okay.
So, and that's where we're already lost ourselves, literally, because we don't have the ability to be as a child in the cult of this organization. Okay, so any more questions, guys, as we wander on off here? I just want, on a side note, Jamie, I want to definitely work on music with you. I literally write music like nobody's business. Songs, melodies, harmonies, words, everything. And I think just to be able to collab with you on some fun shit like that would be healing, of course, super fun and cool. I think I will blow your mind vocally on a few things and ideas that I have. And I also work really well with like a one-on-one producer.
Let's get together the next time I'm in LA.
Yeah. Or if you're in Portland, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. I might
Okay.
swing on up on there.
So are there questions? Do you have questions for me, or should we take questions from the audience? What are we doing?
I was going to ask you 2 more questions personal.
Okay.
Just that I was like, oh, I wonder what he does for that. Or if you do this. Do you do any kind of yoga, movement, stretching, physical things on a daily thing? Or is that not in your, I don't want you to feel like you should be or whatever. I'm just wondering, is that's something I've learned that I started to do. And I wonder if
I do.
Okay, but I find that men that have left Scientology or are trying to get out of that brainwash mindset, a lot of the men don't do that stuff, and it's so upsetting to me. Like, it really hurts me because I know how much physically we hold trauma in our body. And I always get looked like kind of told like I'm stupid by men who are not doing it.
Okay, so a couple things. One is been working actively on my brain health through Daniel Amen's work. There's an incredible book called The End of Mental Illness, if you want to read it.
Hold on.
And then also The End of Mental Illness by Daniel Amen. Yeah, by Daniel Amen. So I do a lot of work on my brain health, and I've done a lot of work on my nervous system. That being said, my brother who grew up in it, who left, I've seen him do wonders through Mahamudra meditation. I'm a believer in it just because I've seen how much he's thriving with it. But for me, what's been a great movement, I mean, I got sick when I was doing the audiobook, and I'm not totally recovered. I mean, I got the sickest I ever was in my life on the 4th day of the audiobook. I ended up in the emergency room. I almost didn't finish the audiobook. For me, so I'll be going back soon, so I've taken a break. But for me, it's jujitsu. Yeah, jujitsu is how gives me my relief, and is what makes me feel like I'm inside my body. And I'm horrible at it, but I love it.
I'm starting to do my dance things, and I'm like, I don't care if I suck. I love that I suck. Yeah. The fact that I'm doing it is amazing. Like, I feel good about just being like, hey, I'm not good at this. I got a weak back. I'm strong here. I'm not strong here, guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love not needing permission from people and just doing it and letting people just rot on me or whatever. Just go at it. I don't care. Like, I want to learn to be okay with the opinions. And also, I love knowing, this is a strong one, I love knowing that I have the power to not have an opinion. I don't need to judge everything. I don't need it. Or in the moment, I could not have an opinion and just not let it go, but just also not have an opinion. I have the power to not have an opinion on something. So I do love that thing. Okay, so Shizitsu, are you done with your text there?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yes. Okay, moving on. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
So that's so you do. So that's one of the physical things you do.
Yeah, and healing. I do. I mean, I live in the Pacific Northwest, so I do. I do a tremendous amount of. I go to the Gorge, which is one of the most beautiful places on the planet. It's only 20 minutes from here. It's like God took her fingernail and scratched it across the earth. Oh, and it's 20 minutes from here. The waterfalls. I go to Forest Park and I hike. I'm in nature.
Okay, you're a nature guy. You're a nature. Yeah. So you're I'm very much also about promoting and telling people how much physically movement and nature has healed me, period.
Like, nature and animals instantly instantly make us present and calm our nervous system.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that. Okay. Antidepressant says, question for Mr. Mustard. Do you feel that auditing of children is a form of child abuse in itself? Same question for ethics handlings.
This is my opinion, 100%. I think that when you're in a session, a machine counseling session where they're using the dial to get you, to react. Like, typically when I was growing up, I never wanted to be there, and I would sit there anyway. So that I feel like they were indoctrinating me and grooming me to deny the body, because my body would want to leave the sessions, but I would stay anyway. So it's this, every time I would go into one of these counseling sessions with the machine, I would want to leave, and I wasn't allowed to leave till I got a dopamine hit, a floating needle. So they're conditioning you to deny the body. I think that our nervous system and our body is something that tells us when something's wrong. So teaching someone from a child to deny the body is a form of child abuse. And yes, of course, I think ethics handling, lower conditions, all this stuff, it's a form of judgment, and it's a form of psychic it's a psychic hammer that destroys the child mind to tell them that that unless they're not allowed to be a child. They have to live by all these rules or they can't exist as a child. You know, there's abusive parents that do that to children not in Scientology, and it destroys the child. So I would consider both of those things. And this is just an opinion. Okay. Both severe forms of child abuse, because you're teaching the child that they can't leave. They have to learn to deny the body. Our nervous system tells us when something's wrong. It's not always right, but we have to listen to our bodies.
Yes, that's literally, I didn't even mention that, but that's where all the stretching and the healing and the breathing, that's what I'm talking about, is for the first time in my life, I'm not even kidding, I'm listening and seeing what my body is feeling in times of being upset, feeling sad, deep sadness. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? Okay, my lungs are
So antidepressant, great question. Antidepressant. Yeah, it's a great question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you done cutting my comm?
I'm sorry, I cut your comm.
I was totally sharing a win with you, and you just.
I'm sorry, I just.
What is it? You cut my comm.
I wanted to validate antidepressant for their question, and
it was a very good question. Auntie.
Yeah, and I cut your comm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a lack in ability?
I don't even believe in cutting comm. I think when people are super engaged with each other,
that's me too.
They cut each other off all the time.
All the time. It's exciting,
and it's a great thing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you for saying that, because I either collab and do great with people like that, and I don't even question it or think about it. It's always when somebody says something, I'm like, wait, I wasn't cut. Well, shut the fuck up.
You just cut my comm. I was talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. I wasn't done the time before. So flunk on you. Start.
Okay, flunk. Yeah, that's another one. It's really great for the child mind. Flunk.
Flunk.
So yeah.
Flunk, you didn't pass.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Professor Kah, I think, said about Paco. I think you already, if you go back on this, he brought it up that there was an older Hispanic gentleman at La Quinta named Pac who was Hubbard's.
Okay, I got to end this thing. The guy, when you write a book, in most cases you have to use pseudonyms. So most of the names in this book are changed. So don't just because I call it, the Paco is not the same Paco.
So names are changed slightly.
But now I'm really curious who this Hispanic Paco was that was a tap dancer at the end base. I'm very intrigued.
You know who Claire, everybody knows about Paco that came to the ranch.
So everyone should
Mark Headley or whoever can explain that.
It is not the same Paco. It's a different
He was some
person.
PR guy for Scientology.
Paco is a pseudonym for somebody else.
Okay, good. We cleared up the miswithhold there.
Yeah.
The untruth.
The added inapplicable.
Yeah, that was major Def T.
Yeah, the arbitrary. Yeah, Def T. Jesus God. Okay.
All right, guys. Oh yeah. Somebody asked. Hold on. Question, Jamie. How was the experience of writing the book? I imagine may be difficult, cathartic, etc. Did you need to take breaks when writing your story? Was it a relief when done?
I'm still processing it. It was the most brutal thing that I've ever done in my life.
Oh.
I'm still processing it, and I have good days and bad days. I mean, leading up to the release of the book, I mean, it got better the last 2 months, but up until 2 months, the launch was a few days ago. I would wake up, with, or just be sitting on my couch and just have anxiety, like, why did I do this? Mm-hmm. But now that it's out, a couple months ago, it started getting better. And now that it's out and I'm getting it reflected back at me, A, with kids I grew up with that were there, and B, with people that were never in the way that they're, one thing that's incredible about all the people that are writing me and following me on Instagram and sending me notes, Afila, is how quickly they're getting through the book. I mean, people are like, I never read books. And they read this long book. It's long. I mean, the audiobook is like 11 and a half hours. The book is over 300 pages and they get through the book in like 3 or 4 days. So and then I'm getting lots of notes from people that didn't grow up, that are middle-class people that didn't grow up in a group like this. And what's so incredible is they're seeing themselves in this character of me. So somehow I thought I had this exotic life where I was different and other than everyone. And I felt like an alien my whole life. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden I write this book about being an alien, and everyone's seeing me as this everyman character, and that they see themselves into, even though they were never even involved with a high control group. And that is affecting me in ways that I'm still processing right now. So it's so many different things. There's days where I wake up and go, ah, and then there's days where I go, I'm so glad I did. You know, it's just, I'm all over the place, but it was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life emotionally. And I probably won't be done processing it. I'm normally way ahead of my processor, but I probably won't be done processing this for 2 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So the answer is, yeah, I don't know. Totally is the answer. Yeah.
Good one. Thank you, Afila. And then so no one asked, are those shots very painful physically?
No, it feels like nothing. It's like a pinch. I mean, doing the shots is the most transformative thing I've ever done in my life, you know, and that's why I wrote a book with a scientist that invented it to bring it to regular people, because because the military is doing 30,000 of these a year. And I want people that have carried toxic stress to be able to get the relief of resetting their nervous system. And
I love that.
Yeah.
And I feel like I would say comment on that. I feel, oh, somebody said, thank you for connecting us with Dr. Ryan. Hubby is still enjoying the benefits. I would say there's a lot of, even for me, I still kind of have it about people wanting to get a shot or take a pill or a medication because of the whole psychiatry, you know, enemy of Scientology BS. And so I feel like I have some friends that have done the shot and they literally love it. And they said it's not, love is not the word, but yeah, it's very healing and very.
I mean, I'd had anxiety. I'd been in it since I was a baby. I didn't think it was going to work for me because I had no baseline, but like, I never knew what it lived. I lived with debilitating anxiety my entire life. And now I'm just a person. And I never thought I would feel that way.
Yeah. I love that though. Jamie, if your mom were to reach out, what would you say to her?
I'd probably say, gosh, I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to her in over 20 years. I would probably say, I've forgiven you in my heart, but the reality is that you're a career criminal and you've always lived your life, that you turn your children over to wolves. You abandoned your children, you destroyed your children, and you won't accept this, but you've lived your life as a career criminal. But I forgive you. But I don't want to know you. And the reason I would tell her I don't want to know her is because I don't know her. There's no love lost. She didn't raise me. I was raised in the orphanage dorm slums of Los Angeles by the wolves of the inner paramilitary clergy of the so-called Sea Organization. I don't know my mother.
And not to be weird, but that doesn't make you feel bad. Like if, I don't know, if I were to say that to my mom, which is probably something I should really say to her, I would immediately feel guilty.
No, I don't know her. I mean, it'd be like saying it to my cat. I don't know. I would want to say that I forgive you because I have forgiven her because I know her trauma. But I would also tell her the truth. You are a despicable human being that is only brought pain and suffering to this earth. I mean, I would say both because that's what's true. But I forgive you.
And she would probably have to get to know herself.
If she were ever to look at what she did, she would probably die. You know, this is what in economics they call a sunk cost fallacy, where you invest so much in something that if you were to admit that you made the wrong investment, you would just implode. I mean, she's done so many bad things. She would just, if she had to face it, she would just die. So I understand the problem, but the reality is I don't know her. There is no love lost. I can count the conversations that I've had with her in my life on less than one hand. Doesn't mean, I mean, I've talked to her tons of times, but a conversation where we actually shared a moment or an idea or anything like that, I would be half a hand, maybe 3 times in my whole life. I don't know her.
Okay. Okay, well, there you go. I don't want to rub it in.
No. I'm just trying to be as on. And again, I might feel differently.
Well, you need to confront it, Jamie. Okay. Thank you both for sharing your stories with such genuine vulnerability and humanity. It allows me to consider taking steps to address my own traumas. You are beautiful souls.
Oregon Lab, are you in Portland or in Oregon? I lived in Eugene as a kid. Oregon Labs, shoot me a DM on Instagram.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, my sweet angel babes in chat and everybody in the whole world full of love and light and healing and motherfucking good energy. This was good. This was fun.
You're so fucking uptone right now, Laura.
I'm so theta.
Yeah.
My needle is floating. I think my TA is out.
I feel like I've just done an L.
Great.
This was
Are
like,
you ready to end the session?
Yeah, this was like doing an OT level, this fucking live.
I feel like we've really got through it, though. We really hit the end phenomenon.
Yeah,
whatever
the way out,
that EP is, we're there.
The way out is the way through. Or as Jeff Hawkins says, it's my favorite thing ever, the way out is the way out.
The way out is the motherfucking way out.
Yeah.
As we see you all. All right. I love you guys all. Thank you, Jamie, so much.
Thank you for inviting me. And let's talk offline.
I will keep, yes, we will. And I will keep it, everybody stay in touch. Buy the book, Child X. You can go listen to the Audible, also on Amazon, blah, blah, blah. Do your research. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You probably know how to do it way better than I could. And I figured it out. So do it.
Yeah.
Here it is. That's how it looks. Thank you, guys.